Went to Tractor Supply and got 2 more cattle panels. They're 16 foot in length, so I have to cut them down to 8 foot to fit in the beds. So this should give me 4 panels. Not should, it will. We got the cattle panels cut in half back there, and there's a piece, there's a bar that was directly half, so I had to cut on either side, and it worked out great for 8 foot because 8 foot would go beyond on the edge there. But what it did give me was a couple, a bar. I'll take you right over here and show you. It gave me 4 runners for the 2 panels, and those pieces right there are runners, and that's what I'm going to use because I want to raise these higher than I normally would for vegetables to attach, whatever it may be. And these will be the runners. I'll show you all that when it's done. For now, I've got 2 T-posts in here, and I put them just on the inside of the screws for each one of the beds just to make them even. And then I'm going to drive them in through. This only hole it's going to go in is these 2 T-posts in each bed. And I didn't want to do that, but it needs to be stable, and there's no way any trellis will be stable in our winds unless it's a T-post driven into the ground heavily. But I got a little something extra for that as well, and when we get to that point, obviously in the video in just a few minutes for you or less, you'll see that. But right now I need to drive with the post hole driver or the T-post driver and level and get these 2 level in the ground. There they are. The T-posts are actually just base. It's what holds everything in place. Now I'm going to put the EMT on it. Let me show you what that looks like. They are driven pretty far in. That'll create a lot of stability. Sorry about the air conditioner there. It goes quite a bit in these. Today it was 102 degrees. 102 Fahrenheit. It's hot. I'm dripping, and the sun's gone over the horizon there, or over the tree line anyway. So okay, you can see the 10-foot pieces of EMT are up, and they're not going to be that height. I'm going to cut them back with this cutter here. This is a pipe cutter. It's primarily used for copper, but it can be used for EMT too. Those are the zip ties. I'm holding them in place with these zip ties here. Each one holds 40 pounds of weight, and the only purpose of those is to keep it from rocking this way. You can't rock the other way because the T-post is there. Just this one direction, and with the wind having to come through the fence to do that, it's very unlikely that they're going to break. Besides, them zip ties are a lot stronger than what they look like they would be. So if you notice here, the EMT is, I angled the T-post a little bit so it would expose more EMT than T-post. I think aesthetically it looks a little better. Now what I need to figure out now is how high off the bed I need to come with panels. The cattle panels, aka will be the trellis, just like in my no-weed garden out there. So I need to figure out how far up I can go. I'll need to be able to use the runners there. And then what I'm trying to do is create as much height on a trellis that I can have for tall tomatoes especially. So it can be versatile for indeterminates and anything else that I want to grow on trellis. And I grow almost everything on a trellis nowadays because it's a space saver. I was not going to do this bed with a trellis and just do the back one because the sun in the west comes from that way, and I thought it would shade that. But I think the height of the plant is what I'm going to consider. So if I have a single stem or a double stem tomato on the trellis, it doesn't hide as much sunlight in the back coming this way as, say, like, I don't know, a whole trellis full of cucumbers or melons or something like that. So if I wanted to do that, I would plant the melons in the back. That way it shades the front only in late afternoon. The fence does that anyway. These are a bit too high. The runner doesn't, there's distance there. And I needed the bottom of the trellis to be probably right around in here somewhere. And what I think I want to do is I want to lower these so that the trellis can rest on top of the T-post and provide a really solid downward prevention. Otherwise, the top of the trellis will be EMT, and that's going to be zip tied on. I'll show you that, but essentially that would work. I'm quite certain of it because I've done it before, but having this extra right here would be even better. So what I need to do is I need to drive this part in lower to about right here, I guess, and then I'll have the full support of the T-post as well. The next thing I did was I took another piece of 3/4 inch EMT and I measured the distance between here and here on the bottom. I want it to be straight up and down, and then I did the cut just like I did with these. Now this is a fitting, it's EMT fitting. Let me get behind the camera so I can see that you see it. It's an EMT fitting that grafts the EMT here and sits on the top of the EMT here. And then you just use an Allen wrench to tighten it back down after you put it up top. have left to do is cut off the tails to the zip ties, and that completes the trellis build for the raised beds. You can see here that this is going to both the main garden, the main no-weed garden, and the shed no-weed garden. It has both house water coming in here, and it's got fertilizer, water-soluble fertilizer coming in through this way. I've already done a video on it, and that'll be easy to see. Just look under drip irrigation, you can do a search. But this line here comes out, you can see it winding around here, and it goes up to all of these I guess you'd call them rows of containers here. Those are about 4.5 gallons of mix in each container. But what I'm going to end up doing is carrying it around, and off of that right here, same line, and I'm going to carry it around over to the main garden over here. So this is the configuration. Pretty simple. I took my lead from Lazy Dog Farm, Travis over there. He's got a YouTube channel, Lazy Dog Farm. I follow him quite a bit. He's a pretty smart guy. But what I did was I took his suggestion or use of drip depot fittings and hose here, along with my previously purchased drip line tubing, I guess is what you'd call it. And I made just a basic long rectangle, and I used landscaping ties, staples, whatever you want to call them, to hold it in place until the sun bakes it and it's not trying to bend in, because you know it comes curved. Actually, this is it right here, and I used just basic shears to cut it. Worked really good. And so I've got 3 90s and 1 T, and this is where the line's going to come in. I'm not going to plumb it for a while because I've got till next spring to do that, but I've got a valve on here where I can turn each bed off if I need to, and also it'll prevent bugs until I do get it plumbed. So that's pretty much it. And the last video on setting up the raised beds, and that's going to be the drip irrigation. I think it'll work out nicely. This is Brent. We'll see you later.
How long do we gotta stay here for people we don't know in one lines? All of the clothes are designer, fast cars, and who knows who. Yeah, I know what they wanna say. They're gonna ask me if I'm gonna make it. I don't care if I'm gonna have to fake it, long as I can be real.